Our next guest is Michele Romanow, co-founder and president of Clearbanc, a provider of revenue sharing solutions to fund new online businesses. But you may also know her as one of the dragons on CBC's Dragon's Den. And she was also recently named one of Canada's top 100 most powerful women. Michele, you are way too young to have all this under your belt. Congrats on the successes here.
Oh, thank you.
I read somewhere you started 3 businesses before you were 28.
Well, that means I had to fail a lot on the way to get there.
I'm trying to think, at 28, I had no clue what I was going to do yet. So let's talk about Clearbanc. That's your latest venture, what you're really focusing on right now. What is it? What's the goal here with it?
Yeah, so, I had built an e-commerce company. I had seen all these companies pitching on Dragon's Den and kept basically seeing the same thing. That people were raising venture capital, with their direct-to-consumer e-commerce brand, and they were giving up, valuable equity that they'll never get back to basically turn around and buy Facebook and Google ads to grow their business. Because most venture capital, if you have an e-commerce brand, is used for marketing. And, I just kept thinking, that's so expensive to give up a part of your company, to often give up a board seat. And so we decided to invent something new, which is instead of taking equity or instead of taking debt, which always has a personal guarantee, which means you're putting your house up on the line, we would give entrepreneurs capital as a revenue share agreement.
So wait a second, did this idea come to you while you're a judge on Dragon's Den or while you were watching Dragon's Den when you weren't part of it yet?
No, I was already on the show and I had seen all these great entrepreneurs that were coming on, with, they had a company that makes great, really cool cell phone cases. They make them for $10, sell them for $50 and cost $10 in ad spend, and they needed $100,000 to grow, that business. And so I said, look, I'll give you the money. You just give me 5% of your revenue till you pay me back, plus a little fee. We charge 6%. So it's way cheaper than going, to venture capitalists. And so this is scaled. I mean, we've now provided entrepreneurs about $150 million in capital in 2018.
But this is not your first success. You you sold Snap to Groupon. We'll talk about that. You also were the co-founder of Topia.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about those 2 ventures.
Yeah, so I got started right out of engineering, and I had looked for opportunities in every single place. My first business, believe it or not, I had figured out that worldwide supply of caviar was down by all things. We had overfished the Caspian Sea.
How did you come across that?
Like brainstorming all over, and was crazy enough to move out to the east coast of Canada and build a fishery from scratch. That's everything it sounds like: boats, fishermen, my hands knee deep in fish, and then had the giant recession in 2008. So quickly learned that you need to be kind of both in the right business at the right time.
So you experienced that in 2008 because one of the things I hear is a lot of new CEOs have not gone through tough times in the past 10 years, but you feel you already have the experience should that happen again, should turmoil hit again. Are you prepared?
I think you just think in those terms because you lived through that and how hard it was. And a lot of great things come out of recession. E-commerce came out of recession and the rise of Groupon and daily deal sites came out of that, which we rode the rave with by Topia. Consumers were looking for new and different ways to save money, and so that was a huge surge then. Our business with SnapSaves was digitizing coupons for the consumer packaged goods space, so again, it was riding that wave. And so it's just about kind of finding the opportunity for the economic condition you're in.
I'm always intrigued by that common denominator that just great entrepreneurs have. So I want to know about Michele, the student. When you were at Queen's studying engineering, did you think or know, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want my own business?
I think that I had some of those early inclinations, but I was like a studious kind of nerd. I had to really learn how to take risks then early in my career, which helped with the original co-founders I had. But that was the skill set. And then once you get started, you're kind of on the treadmill. You have to just keep iterating until you find a business that's working. And then over time, you get more and more comfortable with that risk, which is, I think, people are like, how did you become an entrepreneur? I'm like, I started early.
Right. I feel like now so many people want to become an entrepreneur. Many think they are an entrepreneur. So what do you think it's more than having an idea, right? What do you think it really takes?
I think at the end of the day, it's grit. It's this ability to continue working, and it's not just working on one thing, but continue to try and experiment. I mean, it took us a lot of tries and iterations to figure it out. And a lot of people think that innovation is just you come up with one big idea and then that works. that's actually not the case, and it's never been the case with me. We tried, 5 or 6 things before we got to the right formula that worked at SnapSaves. We actually tried a few different things at Clearbanc before we got to, this is the market we're chasing after. And so, if there's one characteristic of an entrepreneur, it's never give up, and it's always keep iterating and keep trying. And then you're just stats. So then one thing is going to work.
What's your criteria? How do you decide who you want to partner with at Clearbanc?
And how do we find? So we look for any growing e-commerce company. So you could be, doing between $10,000 in revenue a month to probably $10 million in revenue a month, if not bigger. And so we're looking, for companies that are using digital ad platforms like Facebook and Google to scale. And if you're looking for capital, we would love to be funding you.
Wow, and how are you raising all that capital to fund? Like, what happens if you just get this influx of all these companies that want to work with you?
Yeah, well, we've certainly grown quite a bit over the last year. So last year, we gave entrepreneurs about $150 million in capital, and we think we'll be much bigger than that this year. And so we raised our own funds to actually be able to deploy that.
Very impressive, Michele. Best of luck with Clearbanc.
Thank you.
And if people want to watch more of Michele, they can catch you on Dragon's Den.
Yes,
you are
100%.
the youngest dragon.
I know, in 32 countries.
Are you the fiercest?
Some days I'm the fiercest, but some days I think I have a lot of empathy for the entrepreneurs.
Are you taking the crown from Kevin O'Leary?
Maybe one day.
Thanks, Michele. Thank you so much. And thanks for watching. We'll have much more for you.
Thank you.